Hi again. Hi everyone. I'm back in my workshop and I'm so sorry that I missed yesterday. I really want to, as I said, whoops, make these lives like super regular, and I'm really trying to, but yesterday I was in Venice and I tried to film everything, but then I don't have time to edit it. So yeah, I enjoyed myself, and you know, that's fine. That's good. So now I'm back in my workshop, and I promise I will be here for the rest of the week and next week also. So now I have a more regular schedule. It was just these. Well, admittedly last week it wasn't my fault, but anyway. So I'm doing the seat for this tourmaline. It's a tourmaline that comes from Brazil, and I'm going on with this. I've done the two tubes, and they fit inside one another quite well. I don't remember in which, there it is. They fit into one another. You can see it there. Yeah. Oh, that's better, sorry. One is longer than the other one because it doesn't need to go to the top, because then when this is gonna sit on the internal one, it needs to be a bit lower down. So that's why this is sticking out. So I need to put it exactly to the right height, and then I need to solder it, and that's what I'm going to do today. And also I have the shank of the ring, and I'm going to start working with that as well. So those are things you're going to see me do today, but what I wanted to talk about with you is artist or artisan, and what its difference, what you think it's the difference, and all of that. Because yesterday I was in Venice, and I was in Venice because there was the Homo Faber exhibition, which is a biennial, and it displays the works of about 400 different artisans from 70 different countries, and they all come from the Homo Faber Guide, and we're part of the Homo Faber Guide. It's a very nice program. It's made by an NGO called the Michelangelo Foundation, and they are working to help showcase, let's say, the different artisans from all over the world. And I think they did a great job at it, like an amazing job at it. I think this is now perfectly where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go and solder it. Just looks so beautiful. So yeah, so right, you know, so right. So, as I was saying, my neck. I've been sitting a bit too long. And so I've been to this exhibition, and it happens every 2 years, and they're all artisans. It was wonderful. It was absolutely lovely. But I think there is a very small line, or thin line, between what is now considered an artist and what is considered an artisan. So I think one of the biggest points of difference, let's say, is the fact that usually things that come from arts and crafts are things that have a use, while things that considered art classically don't have use, like a painting doesn't have any kind of use. But in time it has changed a lot, and this is just my personal opinion, but I do think that because we want to give more value to being an artisan and being a craftsperson, which I absolutely love and I'm here for it, I think we are trying to elevate it to the art status rather than giving it its own like dignity and appreciating what it is. Because we don't need to say that like a chair is a piece of art to say that it's beautiful, or to say that it's something like super creative and innovative, but that's kind of what we do, I think. So the problem is that now like all the lines are blurred, and we don't know what's art and what's crafts anymore. And I think that was one of the issues with this wonderful exhibition. I'm going to take the ring so I can continue to talk about this while I'm actually cutting the shank, which now I don't remember where I put actually. This is nice. Oh, it was here. It's late. Let's say that it's late, and I'll leave it at that. I already defined the length of this, which is the length of the circumference plus twice the thickness of the band. That's how I calculate it, and I'm going to make it round, even if then it's not going to be round at the end, but you're going to see when I go on. Anyway, so I think that the problem here is that it's not clear anymore what is art and what is craft, and instead of being beautiful in their differences, we know that art, we consider art a compliment. So since we consider saying that something is a piece of art a compliment, then we want to attach that description to something that isn't necessarily art. So, and I think we do that for a lot of other things, honestly. That's only my opinion, but I think it's, yeah, I think that's what's happening. So I don't necessarily like this aspect. It's not that I want art and crafts to be separated. They can be, things can be both. But I just like to use words in a way that other people can understand what I'm saying, because that's all that words are at the end, are a mean of communication. And if I can't communicate because we use words as a mean to say something different, or just to like give a compliment, or as an insult, we also use them, they lose their meaning and it becomes just hard to communicate. So I think that's a bit what's happening, and I don't think that crafts or being an artisan really needs to be elevated in any way. I think being a craftsman is absolutely amazing, and I think it's a privilege and a pleasure in this day and age. So I don't think that, I mean, I said this before, I think I need to call myself an artist because otherwise I wouldn't be taken seriously, and since I do only one of a kinds and things that are completely made by hand and blah blah blah, then it's easier to understand if I call myself a jewelry artist rather than if I call myself an artisan. But again, it's because we're blurring what the words mean rather than because I'm changing job or anything like that, or I'm becoming something different rather. So now I'm making this like super flat because I need to take a really perfect measurement. This is a quite thick band, as you can see. It's 9 karat gold, which is not wonderful to work with, honestly. It's quite hard. It doesn't bend as well. It can break if you don't heat it all the time. I don't particularly like it, but it has a wonderful color, and the color it's a bit lighter. So for people who don't want something that's really, really yellow, I do work with 9 karat. Also, it's less expensive, obviously, but yes, this wasn't the main reason for in this case, but it has been in other cases. So I don't know if I'm the only one who has this problem of like talking with the right words and not giving positive or negative value necessarily to those words, but rather just understanding what each other's saying. But I think we should just give more I don't know the word, more depth, maybe more importance to craftsmanship, because it is, I think, what is, so in my opinion, and this again only my opinion, I think art has more of a mental part, an idea, something that wants to be communicated, a meaning behind something, while I think crafts doesn't necessarily need that. We can do like a wonderful chair because we need a chair, and we just see that it's beautiful and it's made in that way. And I think the same thing can be said about jewelry. You can make something that's just beautiful and it just looks maybe lovely on the body, you know, that it folds beautifully along your neck, or like the nape of the neck, or a cuff that just sits wonderfully on your wrist. It doesn't need to have a meaning, like this bracelet, it's like a shackle for, like it's a broken shackle to a dress, like slavery or something like that. And it can be, it absolutely can be, but I think then it goes a bit towards the work of art rather than, like the work of an artisan. I think that's where the two pillars are: if it's something that's useful or useless, and if it has a big idea behind it, or if it's just beautifully made for a purpose, beautifully, creatively, originally. Sorry, my accent today is anyway. If it's an original work, if it's creative, all of that adds value. I don't think it necessarily makes it a work of art. So that's how I see it. And again, this is my personal opinion and I am entitled to it. But I think being an artisan means that you learn how to work with your hands in a way that it needs dedication and practice. And I mean, like, I don't know if you can see that, like I cut myself even today, so pain. But it's not only mental, it really is a body experience, because you do it, you are doing it, and it comes out of your hands. Well, I think that how art is conceived today, it just starts from your brain and then you just create something because you're trying to express an idea, a sentiment, something. And so I think the approach is a bit different, and I don't think one is supposed to be better than the other. I just think it's different. And I think we should appreciate that. So going back to the ring, this is the length of the ring. Yep. So going back to the exhibition, I think the lines between what was art and what was craft were a bit blurred, because again, we don't have a definition that works for everyone, and that's, I mean, it's not a problem, it's just a problem for like communication wise. And you know, it was really wonderful to see all those things there, but sorry, but it did, I think, in my opinion, take away a bit from the crafts movement, because so many people were concentrating on creating a piece of art, because that would have more value than creating a piece of something that's craft or an artisan or something like that. And I don't know, I don't think we need that. Sorry, I think I breathed in something that I shouldn't have, like, I don't know, some dust or something. So I want to say the exhibition was absolutely stunning. The curator of it was Luca Guadagnino, the director of Call Me By Your Name, and Queer. So that's the movie. I haven't seen it. Supposedly it's really good, but I haven't seen it yet. And I think that was, and also Niccolò Rosmarini, who I don't know actually, but I'm sorry that I don't know him. If you do, tell me what he does. I haven't done my research, sorry. But you can definitely see that there is the eye of a director behind it. It was very, very visual, like very visual. The music, the rooms were also like scented. So there was one room dedicated to travel, and it had, all the walls were covered in wheat, and it smelled like, you know, like summer, like the end of the summer. And it was really wonderful. And there was one with all the flowers, which was a room dedicated to love, courtship in specifically. And it smelled like flowers. It was all dedicated to flowers, basically. But it did also smell like flowers. And there was, I don't remember the other smell, but each one had its proper smell, and a very defined aesthetic that was very visually appealing, like super interesting visually. Sometimes it was so visually interesting. There was one room dedicated to inheritance, which was only open to workshops who were more than one generation. So it was maybe something that was made by 3 generations of artisans in the same workshop, or stuff like that, or techniques that were inherited from their grandfather or grandmother or great grandparent. And it was really wonderful, but it was so dark that you could barely see the pieces. They weren't really, I think, the way they used the light, it was more to create a wow effect rather than like give actual value to the pieces. Not always, some of them were really beautifully lit, but I think it was due to what they were trying to convey with the room rather than the other way around, which it's a choice. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, in my humble opinion, but it was beautiful to see as a spectator. So I guess they achieved that. So now I have to start creating the ring, the shank of the ring. Whoops, I moved this when I sat down. I have to film it slightly, so I'll be silent for like 30 seconds, maybe less than that, like 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds. You can literally, sorry, it was 27 seconds. You can see how hard this is because I'm struggling. I'm going to bend it a little bit, then I'm going to heat it again, then bend it again, and go on like that because this is really hard. So, as I was saying, I think it was absolutely stunning that the degree of variations within a theme was really amazing. There was one room dedicated to dreams, and they had basically all like masks and hats, and there was incredible variation because you would see masks from like Japan and Senegal and Nigeria and like the Netherlands and Italy. It was absolutely wonderful to see all these interpretation of the same thing, basically, made by different cultures. There was with like China and Japan. It was really, really wonderful to see them all together, and they're all contemporary. So it's also like it's a reading of this moment made by different cultures worldwide, and I think that's amazing, and I have never seen another exhibition do that, which I think it's a pity, actually. So yeah, I genuinely loved the exhibition. I honestly did. I just think that it's blurring the lines between what is art, between what is art and what is craft, and I don't think we need to. I told you this was hard. I don't think we need to do that because I think crafts has its own value, even if you don't say that it's art. I'm going to heat it up because it's too hot. It's too hard. Sorry. So I don't know. I would like to understand what like other people, like not me, think about like you. Like, what do you think is an artist? Who do you think is an artist, and who do you think is an artisan? Because I think also that saying that everyone is an artist, it can be right, but it also takes away the meaning from that word, because it's not categorizing anyone if it's everyone. And again, I just think that words should be used for what they are, rather than being having a positive or a negative attachment to them, honestly. I also have like strong opinions regarding the same subject with other themes, where I think words shouldn't be misused. But I think in this case, maybe because it's very close to my heart, because I'm an artisan and I want to label myself as an artisan. But if I say that I'm an artisan, I don't get taken as seriously. Being an artist seems like it's more relevant, culturally more relevant than being an artisan, and I don't. First of all, I don't believe that to be true, because I think that artisans can make pieces that have a meaning and pieces that don't have a meaning. You can do both. It doesn't necessarily needs to always have a meaning, but it also doesn't mean that it never has a meaning. It can be both. I think that's quite straightforward thing to think. But like if I go to a prize, if I present one of my works to win a prize, and it doesn't have a very strong meaning behind it, it won't be taken seriously, or it won't even be taken into consideration, honestly. And that's an issue for me, that's a problem, because sometimes I do things just because they're absolutely stunning, and I think that that's their worth, being beautiful things that you want to put on your body and adorn yourself with, it's enough. It doesn't mean that it's less worth or less important. I just bent it too much here. My hands are hurting. I'll have to do this with a hammer in 2 minutes, because it's just getting too hard, and the smaller it will get, the harder it's going to be, because even if I heat it up, the metal is still already quite bended. So that's why this ring is not going to. So this ring is going to have a shank, and then it's going to have a shape similar to this. I don't know if you can see it. So it's going to have like a elongated middle part. It's going to have a different shape than this, but it's going to have that general idea. But because I want to make it round, I'm going to do the ring, make it round, so solder it, and then make it round with my mandrel, and then I'm going to cut it out and add the piece that's going to be on top, because I think that's a better way of doing it. Maybe other people won't think that, but it's my work, so I get to do it in whatever way I want to. I'm joking. If somebody wants to share how they do it, that's fine. I am in like 4 or 5 Facebook groups where master artisans who maybe are a bit older share how they do stuff, and I think it's absolutely amazing, because being a craftsman is so freeing in a certain way. It's also so free, because you get to do your own tools, and you get to find unique ways of getting to the creation of what you saw in your mind, and there isn't like a pre-made map of how you get there. You just try. You just try and hope, and visualize all the steps, and with experience, you know, like that works in that way, that can break, that it's too difficult, that I have to do some research on, that it won't work with that metal and all of that. But it's such a wonderful like journey, and that's one of the reasons honestly why I do only, oops, that slipped, why I do only, oh this is hard, one of a kinds. Nice shape, huh? Look at this. This is horrible. It's going to be round, but for now it's horrible. So as I was saying, one of the reasons why I do only one of a kind is because I really, really enjoy the learning part, the not knowing how to do something and learning how to do it. I think that is the most fun part of doing anything. And so that's why I love doing only one of a kinds. I will also like sometimes remake some pieces, but I just don't particularly like it. But does that make me an artist or an artisan? Who knows? I think that the fact that nobody actually has a real definition is also fun. There are definitions out there, obviously, but it's not, I don't think they really apply to how we perceive art. Like, for example, if we have a statue that it's made of terracotta, then it's considered art. But if we have the same statue that's made of ceramic, then it's not really considered art most of the time. It's something maybe a bit in between. Like De La Robbia is considered an artist, obviously, but it's not really considered the same medium as marble, for example, for statues. So there is a hierarchy of also materials to use. Like if you do jewelry, doing it with gold or precious gemstones is not going to be considered the same as doing it with silver or other or copper or less precious materials, even if the hand work, the hand forging, or the idea is as good, if not better. There is a hierarchy, unfortunately, of materials, which we do respect to a certain extent, because we need to communicate. I think that's the reason. Because we need to label ourselves. Whoops. I think my mic is going to die in like 2 minutes. But I think we need to label ourselves to make us also like palatable and commercial enough to sell our stuff, because at the end of the day it's fine to be like a struggling artist if you have somebody else that pays your bills. But if you don't, you're going to need to either sell your stuff or have another job. There isn't another way of going of doing so, or you will need to stop creating your art because you won't have the money or the funds to do it. So I think we should be reasonable about it and stop like loving the stereotype. But I already talked about this. So I think what I think is that we don't have a clear definition of what is an artist and what is an artisan. And I do think that we need one, and we need to stop using artist as a compliment, but we should use it according to its definition. And I don't know exactly which definition we want to use, but I would like to have clearer definitions that would help us understand what the person in front of us is trying to achieve. I think that's very important. And also we should give a lot more weight to craftsmanship, because who says that it's harder to make a work of art, like an installation or a painting or a sculpture, than creating a wonderful table or a jewel or a lamp, like why why is one considered better than the other one? So yeah, that's my take on it. If you are in Venice between now and the 30th of September, absolutely go and see the exhibition. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's beautiful. And there are so many works of so many different artists, from knives to glasses and very like embroidery, like very weird, beautifully weird embroidery, as I said, like masks, headpieces, what else? Vases, a lot of vases. Oh, there were some baskets, like hand-woven baskets. They were absolutely amazing. And again, there was like one from Japan, one from China, one from Ghana. They were amazing, and they were so similar yet so different. It was absolutely beautiful. It was in the nature room. And yeah, if you have the time, the means, you're in Venice for any reason, go, just go. Trust me, it's the best 16 euros I spent in the last, I don't know how many years. It was absolutely wonderful. And if you want to chat about what you think it's an artist and what you think it's an artisan, I would love that. And now I'm gonna make this flat and try to close it and make it a bit rounder, because as you can see, this shape is complete shit, but it's not a problem. It will become round, I promise. You'll see it round tomorrow. And I'm gonna solder this as well. And by the way, just so you know, this is gonna go on top on this side, so it's not gonna be sitting on top like this, where you have the ring and the stone that sits on the finger, but it's gonna go like this, so only the wearer is going to see the stone, because again, it's dedicated to pregnancy, and so this is symbolizing the child, and it's a very intimate piece, so it's going to stay that way. You know, only the mother's going to be the one able to see the gemstone. I think you get the the metaphor there. It's quite straightforward, I guess. So yeah, so you'll see me going on with this tomorrow, and also my flowers that I haven't been working on because I have had some commissions other than this, and I've been working on those today. So yeah, if you want to chat about what's an artist and what's an artisan, I already told you, please do, because I feel very alone here. Other than that, I'm gonna go get food. So bye.